Alright, hello and welcome everyone. I'm Captain Marek and this is our regular Captain of Industrial Dev stream every Saturday. And as you can see, the crater is slowly disappearing. Before I go any deeper, I want to quickly show you guys that those mountains and especially this road is a history. These guys are mining so much that during this pre-stream, I believe they went through the road. Not sure if anybody saw in the distance. I was a little worried they're gonna completely remove it by the time the stream starts. But fortunately, you can still see the spectacle here of this old little area being completely removed. There used to be the retaining walls that I had to remove to let the rock fall down without causing any extra issues. And yeah, this is on one hand exciting because obviously, you know, this has been a big mountain. Now it's all gone and trucks can go through directly and all that. On the other hand, it's quite scary because we are without a mountain and we still have a big hole to fill. So I think this time you can even see that the middle already disappeared. I think this will disappear for today. We might even reach the other side of the crater today. See how fast it goes. However, apart from this little copper mountain, I say little even though, you know, it's fairly big. Some trees on top, palm tree here. But apart from that, we are out and we need more. And where are we gonna get more? One option is to go for this gold, which might not be too bad of an option. Second option might be to go for this, which I think I like more. However, I have lots of trees in a way, so maybe I can dump a little highway here. Even though I don't want to waste dumping material for nothing, right? But maybe dumping this out and make a little highway here. Or at least, I think the trucks can probably find a way through the forest, even though it not be straight line. Or maybe just extending this road here could have been also option. I'm not sure, but I think it has to be done because those mountains are obviously not enough to build the crater. I also have finished dumping all the grass, as you can see, all nice and grassy, ready for trees to be planted. And yeah, I have moved all the conveyor belts. I try to basically maximize the conveyor belt throughput. So whenever I see, for example, this should never happen. I see empty conveyor belts. That's because these guys are already too far from these sorting stations, and since this mountain is already gone, I'm not going to be moving them any further. I'll just wait it out and then move to the left. Yeah, we are low on coal. That's because our pre-industry is a little bit behind, but that's all right. Other than that, we are doing all good. Vasily is looking for the update. Yeah, everybody here is looking for the update, including us. I took a little bit of a, detour today. For 2 hours, I'm going to stream, chat with you guys, and I'm going to go straight back into the work. I'm currently actually working on the maps, trying to improve current maps and design a new map for the update. So if you guys have any thoughts about current maps and would like them to be heard, then let me know. In general, I think the maps will be extended to some degree to be bigger, and we need to put more resources. Obviously, we introduced bauxite. Even mineable uranium could be a thing. So first of all, we had to add new resources in, and then also maybe extend. So trains are potentially more useful if you choose to use them. You know, I was telling that, you know, instead of these conveyor belts, I wish I had trains, because building, you know, 8 conveyor belts highway was something, but now it's working, and it's working fairly well. Definitely saving a lot of time. Also, I was looking at the statistics for mining. And we are mining nearly 100k rock a year, and I thought, can we get it over 100k? 95 was the peak. Can we get it to 100? My question. The thing is, we also mining other things like ore, like iron ore, so it's not very accurate. But I think maybe we can move towards this mountain, and this mountain will have a little bit shorter trip, because remember there is this one tower here. I believe it's this one, which does not have any sorting assigned. So they are mining here and dumping it all the way here without any sorting involved. So all those trucks are traveling. You can see those blue trucks. Barely can see the blue ones. They're all assigned here. So maybe this, if those guys were here, they'd be much more effective, right? Maybe I should do that instead of, and leave this for the conveyor belt, because I'm kind of wasting lots of time and fuel and everything. So let me actually do that real quick. I'll try do this, even though I want the dumping to be 1 lower. So let me be a little tricky here. Okay, I want to mine 1 lower. Maybe here I can make a little ramp. That. And then flat. I should have done this a long time ago. I was just a little bit of a focus on the mountain, but suddenly the mountain is gone, and I'm freaking out because I need more. And I should have used those trucks that actually don't sort anything and dump directly for closer jobs like this one. So let's see how this works. If I get this tower, and I say here, I wonder what's gonna happen. Because here I can easily use the sorters, right? And in fact, since these guys have sorters kind of close by, I think it might be smarter to actually mine this mountain. JD Plays rated us with 150 viewers. Wow. Thanks, JD, and welcome everyone to the Captain of Industry dev stream. I am the developer of the game, and we are currently trying to fill up the crater. I'm not sure from which game JD sent you over. I'm not sure it was Captain of Industry or some other game. So if anybody is new to the game, very warm welcome. And also, it's amazing that JD is streaming. You probably, everybody from his stream know that he is in Australia, and currently he is like, I don't know, like 5 a.m. or something like that. That's amazing to me, to wake up this early and stream for you guys. All right, so what was I doing here? Right, I was talking that we should leave this mountain to these guys and redirect. I think I redirected something different here. I'm not sure which tower. Yeah, so a question about new maps. So update 3 will come with a new map for sure. We actually might retire some maps which are less popular. We'll see. But for sure there'll be at least 1 new map that's gonna be specifically made for generally larger distances, so the trains coming in update 3 will make sense. That would be the main kind of design purpose for that map, but also it will be playable with like normally, right? There's going to be necessity to necessarily do trains, but it's going to be kind of more useful than in other maps. I think this map this is Armageddon, even though probably you guys don't even recognize it. I don't even recognize it now. That's also used for trains, lots of distances. And other maps going to be slightly extended to make to make more space for resources and more sense for trains and stuff like that. Yeah, retiring of maps, it's a hard decision. So, obviously, there are always people who like certain maps. Well, I think I redirected this one, right? Did I make this mistake? Yes. All right, that was my mistake. When JD came with the raid, I totally mismanaged here. Oh yeah, they're gonna go back and forth. Yes, retiring maps it's an interesting topic, right? So we have a rough idea of how the maps are popular. Obviously, all maps are being played, right? There's no maps which is not popular at all. There's always maps which are popular. Making every update, we have to make changes. We have to update the map. We have new materials. We have new kind of ways of new quality, new decorations for the maps, and it takes quite a bit of time to kind of adjust all the maps. Oh, we have a conga train here. Adjust all the maps to the new update, right? And as the number of maps increases, this kind of a burden grows, right? And I see these guys probably eventually gonna try. So this is like a migration of wild animals. Look at the wild excavator traveling north for the better feeding. JD is saying that chat has 3 questions. When is RV3 coming? How long till you break it? And how much early access do I get? All right, that's a good question. Well, update 3 is coming on May 20th. However, I need to be... You're going to get a little special information here. It might change. We have something going on, and it will be close. It's not going to be, different month or anything. It's still coming out in May. But it might be a slightly different date. But that shouldn't be too big of a difference. We'll announce it in our next blog post once it's solid. How long till you break it? Sure. I will give you maybe 5 episodes, or maybe once you get to trains. I'm thinking that maybe JD will do something with trains, and then he's gonna find something, and he's gonna make a train with length of 100, and he's gonna break the stations. That's my prediction. something like that. And how much early access you gonna get? Well, I would say we are still not sure how we're gonna do this whole thing regarding the embargo and streaming. So I'm sure we're gonna give you access, JD, quite a bit early, but I'm not sure how bit early for your viewers to get a peek. We might do some kind of early access for the content creators so they can stream earlier. These guys start doing some fancy business here. But we're not sure yet. This is actually not in plan. So once we are closer to the release date, maybe once we are 3 to 4 weeks, or 2 to 3 weeks to release, we will announce and decide, when we are doing this, what's the deal with the streaming, and how early we allow it, if at all. Last update, we didn't allow early streaming, just to make everything fair for everyone. However, we understand that some people would love to showcase a little bit something special for their community earlier. So I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying I don't know yet. We haven't decided. So that's all that. But what can definitely happen is that, if we have some early access to the game, and we decide to not allow early streaming, I'm sure JD will record some videos, and on the very first hour of release, he'll gonna drop in something ready. So if anything, that could be the next best thing, to basically drop in with the update all ready videos, and then of course streaming and stuff. Yeah, I think trains is gonna be, trains are complex because we went with this kind of new system where you lay down directional tracks and you don't need signals thanks to that. And we think it's a great kind of simplification without losing any control. However, it comes with its own things, right? Because not too many games, or no games at all, perhaps, attempted this feat. And it will come with its own potential issues, right? So I'm definitely, we're definitely trying to kind of minimize any issues early on. But sometimes things are so complex that once you let 1,000 people play the game, they're gonna find something. And especially JD. JD counts like a he'll find it if it's there. He'll find it, and that's great. We will be happy to. I'll be very happy to wait for the videos and see what broke. I'll just make a highway here. I'm not sure the tracks going between the trees is not particularly efficient. I'm not sure if they're gonna be smart enough to try to use the road to avoid the zigzags. And also, oh, the fuel. Oh no, I don't have a fuel station here. All right, what's the closest fuel station I could provide? I think I need to provide a new fuel station here. There's no other way. All right, let's do a new fuel station. All right, I think they dumped everything they could have. And now let's let them... Where's my station here? Let's keep doing the creator, folks. Yeah, I need a fuel station, and I think I need to get rid of these trees as well. At least for now. And I think this gold setup, I think I'm happy to let it go. Let's say goodbye to our gold, which has been not functional for the longest time. Goodbye, goodbye. Yeah, trains will be really big belts, basically. It's interesting because I think I was explaining a couple of times already. I think what's cool about trains is that they form a network, right? So if you make a station one side of the map and station other side of the map, and then you need something, you just connect somewhere in the middle and suddenly have access to all the places, right? So I think it's better than Big Belt because it's kind of a omnidirectional, any cargo belt, right? You can send through it in any direction, to any point. Kind of if you build it correctly, obviously. If you made the train to work actually like maybe double track, both directions, and all that, then it can become this really powerful kind of network. I just need to build a fuel station here. And I will need to assign it some. So this, I usually assign fuel stations here. So I'll assign one more here. Oh, this is different mining tower. This tower? Oh, did I mess up the towers again? Oh no, I did. I totally did. That's why they are sorting. All right, that was a big blunder here. Right when everybody's watching. So this guys with the sorters should be working here. These guys without sorters should be working here. We have a second migration of wild excavators and trucks. And then here I will assign this station and unassign these stations. And probably also unassign this. Yes. Maybe I can assign, is there any station here also? That's good. And I have a station here which has lots of big fueling trucks. Now I will assign one of these big boys right here. All right, that should be good. And now we're gonna be mining this mountain straight in. Where am I from? I'm currently in the United States on the West Coast. But our team is scattered around the planet. We have some folks in Europe, some folks in America. We have contractors from all over the place for, 3D models and sound, music. Those are usually contracted out. We don't have full-time employees for that. But we are a fairly small team. I think we have around 3 full-timers and a couple more contractors. Waiting for the update to, if it's successful, we'll scale up. And if not, then we won't. It's so far like that. Yeah, I have a bad habits building Unity, and my feeling was that quick build Unity is too cheap. So I was kind of thinking that at least for Admiral, it should be much more expensive so that you actually don't build everything with Unity. And because it would be, actually I think what's good price is the storage quick empty. I think that's like a, let me see, if I have a big storage here, full big storage here, if I say empty, it's 45 Unity. And I think that's good. I think that price is fair. That's quite a bit of chunk, but hey, you have a big storage, it would be a lot of truck trips, so that's good. But then the materials, quick deliver is too cheap. And the reason why it's too cheap, by the way, I'll tell you exactly why. Because we currently base the Unity cost based on the quantity of the products. And the interesting thing is that the number of products over time doesn't really grow because we have different tiers, right? So for example, we have, well, maybe labs is not the best, maybe assemblers is the nice example here. Right, assembly 1 costs 31 construction parts, and assembly 2 costs 38, so basically the same, but tier 2, right? These are much more expensive construction parts because each construction parts 2 take take 2 construction parts 1, so like a double. It's like a double factor of 2 of compression. And another one costs 50 construction parts 3, which would be 100 construction parts 2, which would be 200 construction parts 1. But Unity doesn't care about the part type, it just cares about the quantity. So it will be nearly as quick to build these. This is 50 of this should be the same. Maybe I can test my theory here. If I build this or this, they both cost 50. And it will be 3.8. Is also 3.8. See, they all cost the same for quick deliver. However, this should be obviously more, right? Because it's more maybe complex and to build. So maybe we can do something that different materials could be quick deliver for different costs. That would kind of balance it out, I think. All right, and now we are cooking here. And we have fuel. And the trucks are going on the road, actually, mostly. Well, they have they're doing some kind of weird. Maybe this tree has to go as well. For some reason, they really like this little nook, but they're using the road. I'm quite impressed. But then taking the shortcut through the forest anyway. Yeah. For everyone who came in, I'm playing with 500 vehicles because I actually wrote a mod to give myself more vehicles just to make this crazy mining job possible. And you can download it on YouTube. I have a link below the video. You can download it and use it in your game. However, it's not for free. It's not a freebie. You have to actually research. And at the end of the research, you're going to get a bunch of new nodes. You can see lots of new nodes of the vehicle research. And each new node gives you extra 20 vehicles. So you can just keep adding 20 until you have 500. And I hope to make this mode also updated for update 3. So if you ever want to continue your game through update 3 with the same mod, I'll do that as well. Yeah. Yeah, balancing trains and conveyor belts. There was lots of discussion, in the chat and otherwise. It's a tricky balance, but I mean, in general, it should be that for longer distance, the longer distance there is, the more trains would have sense. Because conveyor belts, first of all, building them on longer distances is kind of, not the most pleasant thing, especially when you need to build more than one. Like I've built this highway, right, of 8. Where's my highway? Right here. When you have a big highway like this, building this throughout your island is not easiest, especially ramps and avoidance. So the longer distance is showing sense, but also short distance when you need large throughput, or I would say when you actually need a small throughput for large distance, I think that's probably the best, because you can make a train with 1 wagon, 2 wagons. For example, if you want to deliver steel to your nuclear power plant, right? We have this amazing nuclear power plant here, and it needs a little bit of graphite and a little bit of steel. Where's my steel? It's just on a conveyor belt, there's no storage. Right, so I actually made a huge conveyor belt all the way from my steel factory just to connect those things, and they need 1 steel per 60 seconds. It's like so small amount of steel. This conveyor belt is just sitting, using electricity, and in the new updates using maintenance as well. Well, you can make a 1 train with 1 wagon, and just, once a while this train will drop in 1 wagon worth of steel, and that's it. So it's actually low throughput is surprising good use case for trains. And we have some collapse going. Oh no, yeah, these guys are, as they were mining, works were falling on the other side. Typical. It's a typical. But yeah, I'll let these guys actually take over. There's the mining tower for these guys. I'll let these take over this complete mountain and let them finish, because they have sorters very close. These guys will mine this mountain because they have sorters close, and the middle guys were moved here. And I'm sure I'm gonna see big dip in my rock. Oh yeah, look at that. When I was transitioning, very bad performance. Hopefully we're gonna get it back soon. Also, I'm mining copper instead of rock. I should also kind of sum that up. Copper ore. Oh yeah. I remove everything else except mining. You can see that actually we are doing, 5k. So that's quite nice. Yeah. Fox have already prepared map for trains and moving belts. Yeah, you can do that. Just be careful that train turning radius is the tightest is 14 tiles radius. So if you want to make 180 degree, you need 28 tiles to turn around. If you need to turn around, you can also make trains go backwards. That works. Yeah, just 8. Bigger bridges are interesting. We're kind of running out of time. We could make a modular bridge, so you can kind of like keep tiling the bridge. I'm not sure if we should spend time on that. Maybe instead of a stream next week, I could do that. The thing is, it's not 2 hours of work. It's more like a couple of days of work. But it's technically possible to make a modular bridge. We were kind of hoping that with the new trains, you wouldn't necessarily need to make monstrosities like these. Hopefully, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, I was thinking that actually trucks are probably not keeping up, because I transitions from rock to copper. I'm sure currently copper is not being dumped fast enough. I think iron here is actually done. Oh no, it's not. There's one little bit of a iron here. We need to keep that. But yeah, it's actually, I need to keep these in. I don't have enough trucks to assign 8 trucks to every storage. I have to kind of keep balancing them as I go. Yeah, I know JD was wanting modular bridge for longest time. I'll see what you can do. The thing is also a little problem with like modular bridge would not necessarily match this bridge layout. It would be different. It'd have different holes and different legs. So you would have to kind of keep these as a legacy, and then you have modular bridges and new ones, and they might be a little more wasteful in space. They might not be as compact. So I'm not sure. Like, would you like to have a modular bridge which is a little bit more wasteful? Like maybe has a little bit thicker columns, like less holes through them, but then you can extend it as you wish. Or I'm not sure. It's complicated. Would make it even taller, in theory. For trains, you can actually be implemented level crossings. So you can make a train and then just track crossing. You don't need to go above the train track, which is much bigger simplification. Yeah. Yeah, bridges that can go to other islands, that's gonna come in the future. Don't worry about that. That's definitely gonna come in the future. We just don't have enough time in this update, so look forward for the future updates for sure. Yeah, we need more trucks here, definitely. Iron ore. Remove even more from rock. Dumping is the bottleneck. You can always see the copper ore. Right, mining is going down because we are not dumping fast enough. Yeah, JD. So JD, you would like basically have even taller bridge, so you can have a maybe three transports underneath, so you can go 1, 2, 3. That could be done, but yeah, you would have to have probably like a double legs or something, like thicker legs, which would basically kind of make them longer, right? If you have not enough space. Sometimes in this factory, I basically needed a shorter ramp. Like, you know, when you have to bridge a little gap right next to a crossroad, you cannot have a longer ramps. If this was modular, it would be probably longer, right? So that's kind of, it's not always a pro to have a modular bridge in this regard. I'm not sure. You know, we could also keep these and add modular as an addition, but then the worry that the new players will going to be like, what's going on here? We have, you know, a bunch of bridges which are fixed and a bunch of bridges which are modular. Not sure what's the best player experience there. Plan for full release. I mean, we have plans, but we don't know how many updates there's going to be. I would say we need to finish, you know, the world map and the ships and the ocean, and then potentially some other features. Yeah, this is our copper. Working pretty good. Yeah, so it's not, I would say release is not imminent, but we are slowly, you know, trying to finish up all the features that's kind of missing. And in our eyes, you know, the world map, this whole thing is kind of a prototype. It's not finished, and it's, I think it shows. So I think that's going to be probably the next update would be finishing up that, and then after we can kind of decide what else we can add until we can call it 1.0. Yeah, how much do we need modular bridges when there's going to be trains, right? That's exactly what we are wondering. Yeah, while we have lots of new people, I can even show the some parts of our factory, right? I showed that the copper, we have a steel here, which I had to recently extend to have 10 blocks instead of 8. But hopefully that's going to be plenty. Then we have our glass, which I naively thought 4 rows would be enough. Excuse me. And then I realized that I need 4 more. So it's a little bit of a split design here. You know, lots of things are kind of growing. Same here. I thought that 8 tier 2 arc furnaces doing silicon would be enough, and then I had to kind of branch because I ran out of space. Branch in the side to do 4 more. And the reason was I was actually starting to do solar panels for trading, and I'm trade solar panels for here solar panels for quartz, so I have more sand. That was the main reason for needing way more silicon than I was initially planning for. I also have a backup coal for quartz because we had some issues with because this kind of loop, once you run out of sand, you run out of solar panels, and then you run out of quartz. It's a loop that it kind of dies on its own. So I need to make sure I can restart, and the coal here is the way to restart this loop if there's not enough sand, basically. Also making tier 2 solar cells, I was kind of planning them. Actually, I have a bunch of them, even though they are not necessarily efficient for maintenance, but it's alright. I just need a little more power. I'm using diesel generators, our backup plant, actually, I can show that. I have a huge backup plant here for diesel generators. They're set on the lowest priority, so if there is a need, they start running. And sometimes I can see them kick on, so I don't want that because diesel is made out of, actually it's a biodiesel, it's made out of farm products. So that's that. And here's also, that's maybe interesting for JD viewers. Here's a JD's food processing factory with a little plaque here. Look at that. I just improved it a little bit along the way. So here is, the design that JD came up with is basically don't sort the farms, just put everything in on the mixed belts and just sort it as you go through. And basically that was so relieving when, let's say you have not enough canola, you just in a random farm switch it to canola and it just kind of figures everything itself out. So that's very nice. I just had to add some overflow for canola and sugarcane because currently we don't have recipe for burning them. I think it's gonna come with update 3. But that's the only thing that's kind of, I had to add extra burning of sugarcane and heater burning canola. Extra canola gets burned into diesel, and extra sugarcane gets burned into, I make ethanol and burn that, right, in the flare. That's how you get rid of this. Lots of sugar processing. This is all for our biodiesel, bioplastic. Lots of ethanol needed for that, right? And that's yeah, I know JDI. It's hard to improve on your design. It's mostly flawless. One improvement I've made actually, instead of burning waste, I think instead of these boilers or these boilers, biomass, I'm making compost out of them. So basically everything gets composted first because I need lots of grass for my crater leveling. So there's one little bit of a change, that instead of burning biomass, I'm just making compost. And in fact, when compost gets full, I make compost into fertilizer, organic fertilizer. So that's basically an extra free fertilizer out of biomass. And it turns out there's lots of biomass coming in from the whole. You can see the tier 3 belt. I mean, it's a tier 3 belt, but it's it's coming in. So it's quite a nice source of extra compost. Oh, JD is saying that there was a canola mixed with sugarcane and goes into diesel. Yeah, no, I have the diesel. I for sure have the diesel. I put it here because this was my refinery. And I have here a little overflow. I used to have the special module here installed and I removed it. So I had that, JD, but I didn't. It just restructured everything. So definitely, if anybody wants this design, I think it's in a COI hub. You can download it there. Still, if you search for like a JD food processing or something like that, you should be able to find it. And it's a huge build. You need a lot of space, a lot of width there. So definitely I need a bigger map for that. I'm also running out of poppy, I think. Is that a thing. Yeah, so you see, this is, for example, one thing. So I see I have not enough poppy here. I can just, well, I can build a new farm. I guess I can build a new farm. Yeah, why not? So I just build a new farm. I'll make sure everything is connected here. And it's gonna be, I don't know, poppy. And I need something else because usually 2 is good for... I'm gonna do wheat because I think I need animal feed. And here I can keep it for wheat potato for now, and later we can switch. This is connected. And here we need to connect, yeah, this belt output. This is a demonstration how easy it is to add new products. And because I'm rich and because everything is cheap here, I can Unity build everything. And that's it. And I can also make sure I have enough water because I'm a little bit low on water there and I don't want to build another desalination plant necessarily. I can make maybe this. A few extra water. Just looking if it connected properly. I think it did. A few extra water collectors. Make sure those farms have enough water. Yeah, soybean. Maybe I can do soybean. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I have actually lots of soybeans stored. I was looking at the wheat because, see, I have not enough animal feed. And wheat is good for animal feed. And I think potatoes are also... Well, potatoes I have plenty of, actually. I don't need necessarily that. So maybe instead of potatoes, I can do maybe sugarcane. No, I have sugarcane as well. I'm not sure. I have no... Canola, I'm actually mostly full. Yeah, currently I have no other shortage other than that. So basically the potatoes there could have been anything else. Potatoes could have been... I can actually do this. I can actually do... Probably not going to forget. I can do green manure. So basically just don't grow anything else. But later I can switch that to something more useful. Yeah, if I was not playing this map, I probably wouldn't be able to fit this food processing. When I was putting it down, I actually dump the island, extend this peninsula to be able to fit the latest parts for the medical parts. Oh, also, it's one thing, JD, I extended was the medical because I ran out and there was no easy... Basically, I could have copied the module one more time, but I think I don't have space. I ran out of space, so I had to kind of do lengthwise extension, which was... It was alright. I just, a bunch of upgrades of assemblers, and then basically the fermentation tanks were the hardest to fit. But other than that, it's all good. Yeah, it was kind of scary to run low medical supplies because people start dying, right? There's no joke. Medical supplies. In RFBRs, I built 5. 5 is a nice round number where I think this reprocessing plant for core fuel can reprocess from 2.5 plants, right? So 2.5 to 2.5, this is exactly 5. So it's a perfect ratio, basically. So it's working very well, and I don't want to build 6 because then I would have to basically do everything again. So I decided to just do solar panels, even though they are currently more maintenance costly, but it's also we're going to rebalance and fix it in the update, so they should be reasonably competitive, given that they are expensive to build and expensive to construct, but maintenance is probably a little too high on them. So you can probably look forward. I also have lots of Unity. Maybe I can even do clean panels, 1 or 2, to kind of have extra 15% electricity from them. Right, this is already 14 megawatts out of solar panels. Not too bad. Yeah, more Unity solar panels, less Unity for me, quick building stuff. Right, these guys are mining very nicely here. How is the... Right, other ones, where are these guys going? Something is not right here. Oh, is there something? What are they mining? There's slag? Oh, there's slag. This is a mountain of slag, and I'm not sorting that. That's interesting. That was a big mistake. Oh yeah, because this was actually a man-made bridge. It turns out that man-made bridge is full of slag, and I forgot to put slag in my sorter. So these guys weren't using the sorters. They're just going all the way to the crater, you know, without sorting, which is fine. It's just waste of time and a waste of fuel. Right. So now they're actually sorting that. I totally miss it. Is there anything else? Maybe some trash? I can see some trash there as well. Oh yeah, I think I need to add trash. Waste. Just to make sure they will be using the sorters. Yeah, rock, stock, and waste. Rock, stock, and waste will be fine now. Yeah, for update 3 also new bigger sorting plan is coming. So I believe that this should be replaceable by one building in the next update. 1 or 2, we'll not, or 1.5, maybe 1. Yeah, so that it's gonna be much easier to deal with sorting on large scale. GD was also requesting much bigger throughput sorters, so that's coming in. Yeah. GD saying that the food blueprints work on Golden Peak and you shall not pass. Wow. That's amazing. So amazing that you tested all that. That's some dedication there. Is corn better animal feed than wheat? I'm not sure actually. I thought that in our current balance, wheat is better. Where's my animal feed? So wheat is gonna do 192. Corn is doing 144, but I think wheat also grows a bit less on the farm, but not by this margin, I think. If I do wheat and corn, I'm gonna get a little bit of less wheat, but not too much. So I think I can actually leave the corn here. It's all right. Yeah, in real life, corn is probably better. We could change that ratio. It's the other reason for balancing like this, but I think in card game, wheat is slightly better for feeding livestock or chickens in this case. It's chickens, right? Basically, our animal feed was for chickens, so chickens prefer wheat to corn. You can think about it that way. Yeah, I'm putting into sorters and in the mixed belts to just make it transported faster. Because if trucks were going all the way to the crater, they just take too much time. I don't have too many trucks. It would be definitely easier if I wouldn't have to sort it. I could have used stackers. I tried, but this there's so much stuff being dumped, and you know, it's such a big progress of the rebuilding stackers is just too inefficient, I think, for me currently. These guys are still not keeping up with the copper. Amazing. Oh yeah, look at these guys are making good progress. Yeah, people talk about wind turbines and other electric sources. I think that's definitely something we could consider, but not for the update 3. Just need a make sure this is gonna get mined eventually. Now the mining tower is real far from here. That should not be a problem. These guys are still not keeping up. Even 9 trucks per storage. Yeah, there's actually so much. There's like 4 tier 3 conveyor belts input into each. It's a little insane. You might be wondering why this conveyor belt is not being input, and it's actually kind of a little implementation. I think the storage is already at max throughput, basically. And it cannot take additional throughput. It can, I believe it takes one batch from conveyor belts every tick, and there is 10 ticks per second. So basically these 4 conveyor belts, because there's already the little connectors there, so they already deliver more than 10 piles per second. So they cannot take the next one because basically the code doesn't even attempt to take it from the conveyor belt. I think a better solution would be to kind of round robin, to kind of take from all of them evenly. But that's what is it currently. So, and I believe that the order, I was already testing this and it didn't work well. I think order is by order of connection. So if you would connect this one earlier than the other one, it would be consumed preferably. So there's some kind of a, underlying preference or order to it, but it's kind of implementation detail. It's not meant to be like this anyway. And you only encounter it when you really connect more than 4 belts to the storage. If you connect just 4 belts, 1-to-1, it's going to all work. This is a very specific and special scenario. I really need more trucks here. It's insane. I also could move this closer eventually. Which reminds me, I can also do a little bit of a grass. So we can show you how I do grass. So I have this mining tower, which is only dirt and compost. I designate it and put flood designation and then just do that. This is how easy it is to cover everything. I do a little ramp so they can go in and out of this area. That's it. And now we should see also trucks coming in with dirt and starting to fill this up and hide this little madness of down to resources. Sanjay is asking about the graphic overhaul. So we are actually improving graphics kind of incrementally all the time. I mean, if you look at the game from previous updates and since then, every update is a graphic improvements. And the update 3 would actually have a huge UI overhaul. In fact, the whole new UI has been redone basically from scratch, which sounds crazy. And the reason is that the UI system we were using has been deprecated since in Unity. It was the old UI system, and Unity deprecated it and made brand new UI system. And we decided to use the new UI system and also improve upon what we had in terms of our code framework. It basically meant we had to rewrite this whole system, right? So everything, all the UI has been written from scratch, new. Obviously, we took inspirations from how we present things, but we also take the time to improve upon it. So it's not only new skin, it is truly an overhaul, meaning we thought about what we are showing and how we are showing, and then if changes were needed, we implemented them. So that's you should see that. You can see on our blog, we posted some pictures already, but also you will see it in the game. And it takes maybe some kind of a bit of getting used to. It's in some ways it's very different. What's going on with these trucks? Sorry, I was. They say they cannot sort, but oh, there's lots of slack. Oh, I see. All right. Sorry, I'll change slack actually into, because Arnor is no longer present. Yeah, so I'll actually do that, and I'll put slack on the belt. Slack on belt A, please. All right. Yeah. So I was talking about the UI. So the UI is overall, it takes time getting used to, but I think once you kind of get over the difference, I think it's a huge difference, huge improvement in on all fronts. In fronts of visual clarity, in fronts of information presented, in fronts of just looking nice. But that's gonna be big, and obviously we're gonna love to hear feedback on it. So we will do a closed testing for the update. So if you guys are interested in being a closed tester, I think maybe 2 weeks before release, we will publish some blog post with details how to be part. Yeah. Well, you guys are talking about some buckets. So what does that mean? Buckets are faster than belts and trucks. What is a bucket? Is this some kind of Australian slang? What is that? Or buckets are those dump trucks? Or what is a bucket? I don't know. Will be metrics overhauled too? Yes. Well, kind of. Not the data, but the graphic representation. Yeah. Oh, so bucket is a loose storage. Oh, I see. It's some kind of a... Yeah, so this is a bucket. Interesting. Is that an Australian thing? Or maybe, I don't know. I never heard of bucket. I guess it looks like a big bucket, right? It's a really big bucket, though. It's like a bathtub, right? It's a pool. Silo, perhaps. Yeah, it looks like a bucket. It's true. It's a big bucket. I can see that. We have lots of trucks here. I think we're gonna need way more on those slag once the slag comes in. And interesting that at different stages of those mining, different kind of materials are being mined and needed. It stalls the whole operation. Yeah, these guys are mining rock. It does gas like the colored pipes. I know, and that's the thing. Colored pipes were such a big. Lots of people were like, "Oh, I don't want this to look like a kind of like a painting or like not realistic." Colored pipes are changing colors is not immersive. And then I think since then all the complaints stopped, and people are like, "Oh, actually, it's kind of nice to see what's going on here." It's all right. So the blue ones are diesel. The green ones are sour water. I can see that. Suddenly, without everything being white, it was really hard to see. Like now I can just at a glance see roughly what it is. And once you kind of understand the colors. Oh, yeah, GD wants to name pipes. I know. It's just GD. The problem with the naming is that merging and splitting pipes with names is just so painful because there is no good answer. If you're splitting a pipe, okay, you split and they both are called the same. When you merge them, then which name you choose? Random? Or the longer? Or, the one... It's unclear what to do with pipes, and then people are going to be submitting bug reports that their name disappeared, even though it disappeared because they merge it with some other pipe and then they split it again. And, it's complicated. And also there's lots of pipes, and, we have to kind of deal with all those names. So I'm not sure that conveyor belts and pipe naming is a good feature to have. It's I'm not sure. Do you have so many supporters in your stream that you need like each belt is going to be different supporter, and the longer the belt, the bigger tier of your supporter? Or what's the use case here? That's interesting. Yeah. With the pipes, you also wanted to basically have like people color them manually, but then it was so much micromanagement and so much hassle, and then you reconnect the pipe and it was the wrong color and it was confusing that the automated color, we said, all right, we do automated color and we're going to do manual color later. Because we assume that people are going to be screaming at us like, hey, we need to be manually coloring pipes. But since it was implemented, all the negative feedback disappeared, and I haven't seen a single feedback of manually coloring pipes. So we haven't even implemented it because nobody wants it, and we also feel it's not necessary. It would be like a nice, extra feature for the extra crazy things, but we have other things to do which are more important at this point. So it works well, yeah. And surprisingly, we have so many products, and the reason why it works because we have eventually came to two color system. Right? We have a pipe color and we have the arrows color. And thanks to this, because we have two colors, you can actually recognize, like water from steam, right? Because they're all kind of blue, but different shade of blue, different color of arrow. I think the FBR shows it very nicely because we have lots of new products here, which I have, this, it's a red pipe with red arrow versus, red pipe with some other arrow. It's like a acid is more red, I think. Maybe acid could be a little more red even than the core fuel. That's a little bit of a similar, but it works fairly well. I'm quite happy with the system. Especially we have lots of blue pipes. So we have water and we have steam. And then we have like for example, the blanket fuel has a blue arrow, but with a blue pipe with the red arrow. So you know this is not a simple water. There's something ongoing on here, right? Even if you don't know what it is, you know it's not water because it's red arrow. So that's it's quite nice. Yeah, I think troubleshooting also helps because when the pipe remains gray, which means uncolored, oh, there's nothing flowing through this pipe, so something might be wrong, right? So that's actually quite. I've actually found a bunch of gray pipes in my setup. I was like, oh, something is not right. So the gray also helps with troubleshooting. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Household goods, wood, I don't care. Okay, losing Unity. Maybe the panel clearing was not the greatest idea ever. I'll probably disable it. We don't need it, and I'd rather have Unity stocked up for my quick build. Yeah, these copper trucks really don't keep up with sorting. I think we overwhelmed the sorting. These guys, oh, they don't know what to do with compost. All right. Well, I also don't know what to do with compost. Yeah, we just need more space. Maybe I can dump it in front of these storages. That'd be a good place for compost. Just need to make sure there's gonna be enough ramps. So this is not gonna halt our trucking operations here. Yeah, dumping below other trucks. Well, that's something. Now they blocked this fuel station. Very nice. Some temporary blockages. It's all gonna sort it out very quickly, I think. Yeah. Cover bucket should be assigned only. Actually, I think I would like to have other trucks contribute to emptying as well if they can. I'm not sure if that's a mistake or not. Maybe you can tell me if it's a mistake. But I feel that like all those buckets are also not assigned. If I, for example, forget or if they're overflowing or, if other logistics are free enough, they can kind of help out with emptying them. That was kind of my motivation for not checking assigned only. But I'm not sure if that has any other implications. Maybe making logistics less efficient in general. But I think it's kind of on purpose. I'm kind of hoping that sometimes the small trucks, when they're idle, like for example, oh, I was thinking he's going for copper, he was just going for fuel. Sometimes the small trucks can kind of help out with emptying, which I was kind of thinking would be beneficial, but we'll see. Now, a little bit of disruption of traffic while the dirt is being dumped, but after it's done, it should be fine. And I think the trees are, there's a few more planted, and then we can extend the tree planting. We also tree planted here at the rear, which I think also is done. Yes. We can totally do more trees here. And here, yeah, we're kind of done here. I need to start dumping more grass around here. Right, you can see that this nice little area completely filled up now. I think this is this tower, right. I was kind of thinking there's this little thing could be filled up as well. Yeah, we definitely gonna need to mine a large chunk of this mountain to fill up the crater. This is all stuck as well. What is it stuck on? I think I messed up probably something here. Oh no, it's the slack is being full again. Just need more. Where are they? Oh, they're delivering the slack. Oh no. They're trying to... Oh no, they are exporting it. You know what? I probably don't want that. Okay, it's dumpable. Yeah, normally I want that, but in this particular case, I'd rather not. I just don't need my sour water, I feel like. I'd rather let them dump completely. That's why this was not working. Because all those trucks were delivering all the way to the other side of the map. Definitely not what I wanted. Yeah, the new Asteroids features is quite interesting. Yeah, I was playing with it the other day as in a debug mode, so I was kind of throwing Asteroids all over the place. But I think it's really gives the excavators kind of infinite lifetime, because once you are out of ore, you just drop in another mountain, and that's definitely quite exciting, especially when you get to the big asteroids. What we shown in the blog post, I believe, was the smallest one. So if you don't know about the asteroid features, feel free to head on our blog post, which is our website or Steam or wherever you consume news. And basically you can make a space station, discover asteroids and drop them back on Earth and then mine them. And I think they start around 50 tiles diameter. So I can make a grid here. I believe this is 16, those 32, 64. So roughly 4 times 4 of these big squares is the smallest asteroid. It's gonna make a little bit of like a half dome, kind of like imagine roughly spherical asteroid, but that's the smallest, right? So now imagine the bigger would be maybe double that. So that would be, 8 by 8 of these squares. So maybe I can actually paint it maybe with designations here. But if I do 8 by 8, do I even have that much space? So this would be and this would be just the asteroid. Of course, it's going to make a mess around with the crater and everything. It's going to be a smaller one. And the big one would be, like that. I imagine that as being a sphere here suddenly with new material. And we might even go beyond that. Depends on how people react to it and because this will make a destruction in at least double, triple the radius around it, right? So you need quite a bit of space to put it in. And what you can also do to kind of avoid the mess, you can drop in a bunch in the same place and you just kind of mix them up. You're gonna get mixed resources, but you're also gonna not need extra space for the mess, right? You kind of reduce the messiness of the asteroid drop by quite a bit. So And depending how the testing goes, if people say that they want bigger asteroids, well, fortunately enough, the whole system is quite modular, so we can actually change a bunch of numbers and improve a few things, and it should be scalable up to, not indefinitely, but maybe even double that from what I was showing. Maybe that would still work okay. So it's quite a good system that would we come up with, and hopefully it will refresh. And you know, when you have some, you know, like something, maybe a mountain or a forest, something you don't need to want to deal with, like here, I can just drop an asteroid here and it kind of also kind of smashes the mountain in pieces. It's kind of, it has certain, there's some kind of physics to it. It's not just like a sphere will appear on top of this hill. The hill will get smashed, right? So that's, yeah. Yeah, you can fill crater with asteroids. Also, that's a that's a very convenient landing spot because it's not gonna make a mess, right? All the splash and all the craters gonna be contained within the crater, so you can totally smash it down there and just mine it there, and then smash again and smash another one. So yeah, that's definitely gonna need a space. Also, you can do it. You can send it to ocean. So you can send it to ocean, which is also gonna, well, we are not gonna model the tsunami that would come, so you can have a kind of freebie here. However, then it's going to be in the water, so you will have to kind of maybe mine only half of it, right? Because it's going to be underwater. But if you maybe find some rock asteroids or some asteroids without any ore, you just need an extra kind of land to build on. I think that's a perfect opportunity to just, you know, let's imagine I wanted to make this corner kind of all with the rock. I can just smash a rock asteroid, level it up, and I have a beautiful new land. You know, it's getting a little bit into like a, you know, not a little bit, but like heavily into sci-fi and thing. Obviously, you wouldn't smash asteroid right next to your city, especially in the ocean, which would make a huge wave. But yeah, wave maybe in the future updates we're gonna reward you with a big tsunami after you send an asteroid into the ocean next to you. Yeah. Yeah, drop asteroids on the pirates. That's right. That's something that, you know, maybe in the future, asteroids is offensive weapon. Instead of building weapons and sending missiles to your opponent, you just send asteroids like, hello, there's asteroid. You're welcome. Yeah, it could be also. Yeah, this hill will probably disappear quickly once the slag is properly sorted. Lots of slag. I didn't realize because we used to have furnaces on top, so all the slag from furnaces were actually being dumped here, and you can see this little grayer or more warmer tone. That's all slag. That's definitely being resurrected. And I could have created it for sour water. It's gonna reuse the slag, but I prefer just dump it in. Yeah, dumping it is totally fine. There's still more dirt trucks. Yeah, they pick up the dirt to deliver, and then they have nowhere to deliver. So I have to designate a few more designations for them to unload. Yeah, this crater filling has been really a big deal. It's been a lot of work, as you can see. We are, I would say maybe, oh, for sure, maybe 3/4 or it's still deceiving because once we have lots of extra material kind of overhanging from all sides, this all used to be crater, it's now all filled in, so it's the crater was much bigger. If you haven't seen the map, and if you're playing Captain of Industry, you can open up the game and start a new game on crater and see how big it is. You know, now we've already reduced the crater quite substantially because this mountain range is actually on the bottom. There's still more crater beyond it, so it's looking much smaller than it actually is. And if you compare the depth of this wall, for example, with height of this mountain, like I think this mountain is not as tall as the crater is, right? So I think this mountain will just fit into that hole, no problem, with space to spare. And that's the scary part here, because I will need more than this mountain, more than this mountain, and more than this mountain, and, you know, part of this mountain probably. Hopefully it's going to be enough. I'm also importing rock like crazy. If you guys know, there is actually, I mean, one more truck actually here. There is rock mine. And I have it maxed out on level 32, costing me 800 people and 6.5 unity, 6.4 unity. And 200 maintenance just to run a rock mine. That's giving me 864 rock per minute, which then is imported by ships, and 2 conveyor belts are constantly shipping rocks and constantly dumping. So this entire part was imported rock, basically. I was considering importing like ores as well, maybe iron ore, copper ore, gold ore, but they're kind of expensive to import. I feel that I could have maybe... Are there any mines I could use? Maybe like I could actually use the mines, huh? Like uranium? That would be... just dump some uranium. I wonder what kind of mines. I mean, the sulfur mine? I cannot dump sulfur, so that's not a no-go. Coal mine. I could dump coal, actually. Is that crazy? How crazy is that? It's a little crazy. I might not have unity to run another mine like that. Quartz mine is here. Another coal mine. A quartz mine. Brown water, I don't need that. Limestone. Limestone and quartz. I have lots of limestone, quartz, and coal. Let me think. Should I import coal to dump it in the crater? Or limestone? I don't know. What is the coal? Each material also have a little bit of a ratio of like how much material you're actually gonna get for each quantity. It's not constant. And I wonder, what is it for coal? Should I cheat and check the source code of a game? Hey, that's a that's an advantage of being developer. Let me fire up the code on the background and quickly see if I look into. I can also, in the meantime, somebody's saying that the limestone is cheaper from memory. Coal is denser, right? So coal wouldn't make sense to import, right? So I'll report this limestone mine and see how much that is. Start loading ship. Yeah, let me, while you guys are here, I'll look at the density of materials. Hopefully my stream is not gonna start lagging, because, you know, the ID is usually very CPU hungry, unfortunately. So if I look at rock, I'm not sure if I can find it quickly. There's so many parameters. Rock mined quantity, right. So it has a mined quantity multiplier of 80. Coal has, oh, okay, so coal is 100. Right, coal is 120. So it's actually denser. You get more quantity for the, so JD is right. It's more dense, coal. And limestone has a mine quantity of 100% actually. So it is also less dense than rock. Limestone. So rock is the best. In terms of, you know, you get for each unit of terrain material, you get less rock quantity. You get 80% of, you know, the baseline is 100%, which is some number. Rock gives you 80%. Dirt gives you 70% actually. And everything else is probably 100%. But coal is 120. So coal is the, basically you get the most coal quantity wise from terrain. Yeah, so that's interesting. So definitely importing limestone instead of coal would be preferred. Let's deliver. Where was the mine? Oh, here. Yeah, I need more unity. That's all right. I can probably turn off some edicts, perhaps. Maybe maintenance reducer or farming boost. I'm not sure which one I can disable. I'm +3 unity. I can probably afford having a mine costing me 3 unity more, but I'd be interested to see on the mine. I'd be interested to see. Oh yeah, let's go home. It also takes lots of materials to upgrade this mine to be max level, because also different mines at different max levels, right? So that's interesting. Oh yeah, this actually started the mine right here. So this give me 36 per 60 at level 2. And coal is giving me... Oh, 54, look at that. But coal is giving more quantity per 60 for the same level. So actually it's not necessarily worse. It's just more quantity. In fact, it might be roughly the same, even better for the coal. It's just more quantity being moved, so I need more conveyor belts, let's say. But in terms of how fast I'm dumping the crater in, could be quite similar. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I could also dump quartz, yeah. I'm not sure how about quartz mine. We can also check that. I have one here which is closer, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we are nearly done with the dumping, but I feel that maybe building a ship somewhere here on the other side. There's no docking place. Maybe here? Here. Oh yeah, actually here. Would be a good place for additional ships. Be here. We can import both. We can import both coal and limestone and just dump it in, right? We could have maybe, I think, yeah, there's 2 more we can handle. And these could go straight in here and just dump here, right? I should have made this a long time ago. It just never occurred to me that those, even though the mines have like limited quantities, but I think they have 300,000. That should be, well, think about it. 300,000. At the start of the video, I was showing you I was doing 100,000 rock per minute. Actually, I wanted to show you here. It's nowhere near as high because I'm now mining other things. But let's say here, right? So I was doing actually 100,000 rock per minute mined. So that mine would be emptied in 3 years by this rate. So compared to the mining, these these mines are just not as effective, right? It's just not as much. Even if I emptied the whole thing. So maybe that's why I was reluctant, and it was, it made sense because it's just, this one has 600,000. Okay, actually 48. This is actually better than this. So yeah, let's not do limestone at all. I think quartz is the best. 48. Coal, I'll also pause this. Yeah, quartz is the best. It has 600,000. But I have to upgrade the mine or do that, I guess. We'll see. We'll see if that ever comes into, because I feel that by the time I import anything reasonable, we're gonna be done with the creator. I think maybe not this episode, but maybe next 1 or 2 episodes, I'm hoping to get this done. You can see we nearly dumped this little gray area. At the beginning we saw it. Now it's mostly disappeared. Yeah, or as JD said, all the trash can go in. All the trash can be redirected, but also it's a abysmal amount. It's just not even a full belt tier 3. That's like nothing. Even if I stop recycling everything, I'm not sure. Yeah, I just think that mining is just the best. The fastest, anyway. You can see once we started mining here, an hour ago when JD came, it's already... mountain is already gone. We could even go lower, actually. We could have mined until level 1. Like, I wanted to keep the same level, I guess. It's alright. Yeah, so I think it's just a little bit of making sure everything is working properly, making sure all the conveyor belts are 100% utilized, which they are not. You can see a little bit of a space here. So that's the most important thing, to make sure everything is fully utilized. It's just the distance at this point. And they're already finishing up, so. Then here, our highway needs to be fully utilized, which it is. Make sure that, yeah, this is also fully utilized. I can keep dumping the grass just to make sure the trucks are always busy. Yeah, it's a big project, and it's actually kind of gives you kind of a notion of how big those mountains and hills are. So people can say, oh, maybe we need a bigger mining machine, and the answer would be, of course we do. However, not in update 3, unfortunately, but in future updates, it seems reasonable to have some late game mining tech. Yeah. The thing is, JD is suggesting to put extra food and extra goods and everything in settlement, turn to recycling, and just make more trash. And that's a good idea. The thing is, I don't think my production is ready for that. I think my production is, barely hanging in there with all those goods and, household goods, and everything is kind of barely. I always, whenever I'm short, I just add one I just keep growing, as you can see. You just kind of copy paste this one thing and just add one more whenever I need a little more. And I don't have, let's say, more than one machine extra. So if I increase consumption in settlement, my island's gonna fold down, unfortunately. And if I want even more, I don't think my steel production, like everything is kind of at this point maxed out, unfortunately. So, and since this safe is kind of, I'm hoping to finish it up, I'm not gonna wanna kind of copy paste this whole thing one more time. If I was, in the middle of a safe or something, I can still consider expanding, but I feel I'm kind of done expanding and trying to just exploit as much as possible. I see we have any extra sulfur here. Too much sulfur, interesting. I'm not sure if we should do this quartz mine even. Seems like 600,000, it's not going to help much. But maybe can accelerate this little part. We can see how much quartz we can dump. I think I'm happy with the quartz. Let's do the quartz. That seems like a reasonable investment. Is this, yeah, these guys. Oh, I actually assigned the rock, which I did not want to assign. To assign quartz. Right, so we have quartz. We even need more ships, right? All right, so we can unpause this. I have a camera shortcut here to kind of quickly load, and I can go back. I have another camera shortcut here. You can do it, I think, with control and numbers 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6, I think. Do camera shortcuts. We can upgrade here. Unity build. Then we just need a big belt. And I think I was doing the proper merging. Do I care about this road much? Not sure. Let's say I do. There's gonna be road here. Road here. And I just need to merge. I think I need to merge 4 and 4. Right. That's how it's gonna work. Merge 4. And then another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we can copy paste this right here. And then I just merge them like this. Then we have a full belt, hopefully. So basically we only need 1 full belt of quartz. And that's gonna go all the way there somewhere. So we can put a little bit of a ramp. I need to make sure this is gonna be a little bit of tricky here to climb up. Like that. And then which way should we head? I think just straight. And straight. Actually maybe close to the road. Oh, this way, that's right. All the way. All the way. This convertible is going to be expensive. I wish I could build a train. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just go right there. All the way here. And I think here's gonna be our destination. I might need one more ramp here in case trucks really wanna go above. And storage. Yeah, this way. All right, this is gonna be quartz. And I wanna turn off import and dump it. There you go. That was fairly painless. One more ramp here. Maybe we can put one more ramp, I don't know, somewhere here, even though it's gonna be a little bit of in a way, but in case trucks want to travel. All right. What's this? Oh, we need more ship. That's what I thought. So we need to buy more ship. It's right here. Nice. Yeah, I know. Lift will be easier. And in the new update, not sure if you guys know this, but the convertibles can go higher. And I believe it's by 2. So now they can go to height. So ground is kind of 0. It can go, 1, 2, 3. And that's max. And then in the new update, you can go to 5, I think, 4 or 5. So going over those obstacles is going to be way easier because you don't need to go. You don't need to do any of this. Yeah, you can build a lift here. I don't know. I'm not a big lift fan for some reason. Right, we have availability here. We are making 96 per 60. I think we need to go, if we can, all the way to close to 450, which is one big belt. And eventually, once this is working, we'll assign maybe a truck here. Dirt is done. And I need to make a little bit of a ramp there, just to make sure the dumping is efficient. So I need a little bit of a... Maybe I can even do some little area here. All right. Oh, I think they're gonna be... Oh yeah, that's okay. They're gonna dump a little bit of the crater. A little bit of a dirt. Contribute to the crater filling up with dirt. We can also do that, contribute to the filling, but I think the compost is so rare, so precious to me, that I would rather not dump it in the crater. JD is saying quartz mine is max 336 per 60. Well, that solves it then. We can do... Well, we can have 2 quartz mines, actually. Starts repairs. We can have 2 quartz mines, and the import's gonna combine. So we can actually import, I think, 450 if we have Unity for that. I think Unity is gonna be the bottleneck here, which means I might need to... What's going on here? Not enough household goods. Household goods are made here. Right, so it's just the busy tracks problem. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to clear these guys so they can... Don't have any jobs for them at this point. It's I don't have a storage that can accept compost, and they are reluctant to get rid of it, so what's gonna happen here? Yeah, a few trucks to deliver the household goods to settlement so we can have positive Unity. It's quite important. All right. Can I expand the home island enough to end up covering the neighboring islands? Do you mean neighboring islands on the same map or beyond the map? Because the map has a certain end to it. It's not currently visualized, but if you take a designation tool, I took my designation tool, and if you try to drag to the side of the map, eventually you're gonna hit here in what position. So this is the end of the map, and nothing can exist beyond. It's just ocean. You can't visit anything, any neighbors, through building a really, really long land bridge, because the map has limits. On other maps, it's much longer distance. It depends, right? I already mined, for example, here I already dumped such a long ramp. You can see that here the map ends, I think, right here. That's the map end here. So it's not infinite, the map, and that's for performance reasons mostly. But other maps than this have actually much wider kind of margins around the map. This map is fairly big, so the margins are small, but still I think, given how much I've already added here, it's still pretty easy to work with. Is there any other way to fill up trucks other than trucks? You can build the stacker, which means the stacker you can build, and you connect a conveyor belt and it just dumps on the ground, make a big pile. It's not as easy to use because if you want a flat ground, it's very limited use because it's building a big pile. You know, it's more like a storage thing. If you want to store ore or something on the ground, it's easier like that. But then you need an excavator to reclaim it. We have plans how to improve this, but I have to say that we didn't have time to implement those plans in update 3, due to various reasons. But we know that the current stacker is still underwhelming, and we would love to improve it. And I hope this is not going to take another year to make any like that. So I think small improvements might come sooner than with the big update. So the stacker, we already kind of want to improve. Yeah, Joe is saying that you can actually glitch out glitch out material out of the end of the map. It's not a glitch out. So basically when you make a big pile on the end of the map and the material kind of falls off the map, it falls off the map. So you can make a stacker on the end of the map. As I show you the little map boundary, right? If you start dumping material there, it's gonna eventually get removed. So if you want to have infinite dump for your trash or for your slag, you can actually dump it to the edge of the map with stacker, and that's like a permanent fixture, and it's getting rid of it. And that's actually intended. There's nothing, no secret about it. The reason why we do this is mostly because there's no terrain after the edge. So if the terrain went above ocean, then there would be like a hole in the terrain, right? There's a technically, it's like a game limitation that we actually, it's not a glitch, right? I actually implemented code that whenever there is material beyond the map, I had to remove. Like it's not a bug or anything. Like the material doesn't fall off the map or anything. I literally wrote the code statement like if the tile is on the edge and if the tile is higher than, I believe, minus 20 tiles is the constant, then remove the material. Like it's a very well documented and tested feature that material at the end of the map disappears. And it's basically imagine that there's a really big trench around your island where you can dump stuff and it just falls in, right? That's that, and that's yeah, that's totally fair to dump things there. There's nothing secret about it. Difference between lifts and elevators. Not sure. I guess there's some technical distinction between lifts and elevators. I'm not sure about what's the exact difference. Yeah. Yeah, so stacking. So why we can't load the ship and dump in the middle of ocean? You know, that's a good question. Maybe that should be a feature that you can put stuff on the ship and just make it disappear, right? that would be interesting. I guess we just haven't implemented the feature. I don't think there's a big reason why that couldn't be a thing. Right, do we have quartz? Oh, these trucks are still trying to dump compost, which I don't need. Did they even make the ramp? Oh, they did. Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go. Quartz. First quartz arrived. I'm repairing this mine now. And now this truck will eventually figure out, can pick up a... Actually, I need to probably start dumping it. Quartz. Right here. Oh, there you go. Let's go around. And that's the first quartz in the crater. So now we can kind of monitor if the quartz can even fill this little bit of a extra space. We'll see. Yeah, if I enable the resources visualization and maybe disable the designations, you can kind of see what's going on in here. It's yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and it only shows the mineable materials. It doesn't show like slag and rock and yeah. There's a bunch of sand here. Oh, there's limestone actually. No sand, limestone. So now we are getting quartz. Or is our new? Oh yeah, there you go. A little bit of a quartz here. It's a new thing. Yeah, nuclear waste, right? That's right. How to get... actually, I could have dumped depleted uranium. It's dumpable, I believe. However, I'm actually saving it for my fast bridge reactor as a fuel for now. That's gonna be... that. Is there any... They cannot place something? Oh, I think it's just that they're busy with everything else. Yeah, I thought we were gonna remove this mountain by on the stream. I think what slowed me down was the slack, and also I delegated this whole nother crew, which I think if you can see what's missing here, that's what's remaining there. So I think if the crew was working on it there, it would be done by now. Not yet. And my rock mining, well, I think it's around 50, but also we're doing copper now. So let's sum it up. So I have 50. And we have copper, which is, okay, that's a little less. It's maybe 5k, so 55. And then there's slag. So those main ones. And I want per year. Okay, so it's 2K, not too much. So efficiency went down, I think, because of we are kind of mining mixed materials here. And I guess the copper is not as dense as rock, right? Rock is the best for filling. It's the fastest to move for quantity. So basically, copper is not as good. That's why the quantity went down. So these guys are doing the best job. I believe rock is 80%, so it's basically 20% more filling than the ores. Yeah. Yeah, the camera cannot handle this huge crater. All right, let's see if we can... Oh yeah, so we are running another mine. I think I'm going to run out of Unity very quickly by doing this. Where can I get more Unity? Well, first of all, I need to make sure that I might just do belt. I was kind of waiting, maybe I can do trains and things like that. I think those... The consumption 200 of these household goods is just so great for trucks that I just need to build a conveyor belt. I'm sorry. After how many 2,000 years, I've decided that I'm fed up with losing Unity because of trucks are not keeping up. And I'm just going to build one big belt across the entire map, which is going to take me probably like 10 minutes. So brace yourself for some crazy belt action right now. But it's gonna be... I'm gonna do it kind of... I'm not gonna think too much about making it nice. I'm just gonna make it very functional. Can I go through here maybe? Oh yeah, totally. Or maybe... Yeah, that's fine. Oh dear, I need to go through some of the ramps. Yes. And here. This is fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna go on top of everything. Now what do we do here? Can we go through? We can go through, but then we cannot leave. I think we have to go through here. Yes. It's fine. And then... Oh dear, we have this a little bit of a... I think there's still space over there, I think. Is it? I think that the conveyor belt might not have enough... Yeah, supports to even be able to... Oh yeah, actually it does. All right. Oh yeah. How are we cooking? Yeah, here's not enough. Here's already too high. You might need to gonna go level down here. All right. Let's go level down. Yeah, that's fine. Here is fine. All right, and now we are here, where I think I want to go through here. Just like that. I'll keep the trucks to go under that. And we are in the finish here. It's gonna be more than 1,000 construction parts, by the way. I can see the number already. What's going on here? Yes, I want to cross. Thousand construction parts 3. There's also max length of conveyor belts, by the way, but I don't think I'm close to that yet. I hope. I should have done this like 1,000 years before, maybe like 20 episodes earlier. There was a huge overdue here. Oh, it didn't confirm. It's a real long belt. Okay. Okay. 1,313 of construction parts, 2,000 rubber. Very nice. And then how much? Oh, 400 kilowatts of electricity. Beautiful. Just beautiful. And that should eliminate lots of truck trips. We can even see analytics. If we go per year, it's been, yeah, in hydrogen. Well, this is probably going to be refueling. Okay, so if I remove refueling and remove mining. So yeah, these are basically after our ores and dirt and all that, it's the #1 jobs. Appliances are trailing right behind. And that was not enough, by the way. We are still low on this. So we are going to save a lot of jobs. The thing is, with the train and everything, imagine I made a train line. It would be a little bit more work than doing a single belt, that's true. However, now imagine I would like to put household appliances. Well, now I have to make another belt. If I had a train line, I can just connect it to the other side and just do it. And what if I want to take recyclables back? Well, there's another conveyor belt going the other way around. If I had a train, you know, I could make just a line going the other side. So there's an advantage of trains, right? They're making network. It's not a point-to-point connection. Trains have no limits on length or anything like that, or potentially not even count. So trains are truly kind of unrestricted in this regard. So that should be easier to use, so that you don't need to think about like train tracks. Oh, I forgot to put fuel. Train track has no limits, basically, regarding of their length. Yeah, so that's should make it easy to use, right? Maybe that's why I saw the hydrogen being transported. Actually, I haven't even switched to hydrogen. All right, let's do that. They're using diesel. Where did you get diesel from even? Probably biodiesel. All right, so that's our quartz. Still loading. Yeah, and that's... Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. This quartz is not going to get us much, even though the ships were still low, but we need to upgrade those mines first to get anything reasonable out of it. In the meantime, these guys are making a big progress here. GG is asking about you know, what kind of breakdown of distance will train be worth it, and I think that's also, I think there's not going to be a single number. It also depends on, you know, your throughput. It depends on the terrain between the two. Maybe there's high elevation, so trains can't make it easily. So it's always going to be a trade-off. So you have to kind of get a feeling of what's worth it, what's not, depending on the conditions. Can one locomotive haul 10,000 cars? In theory, yes. In practice, it would probably not leave the depot because it would be so slow. It might not even work because the locomotive might not even have enough power to overcome the static friction of the wagons. So that's extreme. If you ask if one locomotive can haul 100 cars, I would say barely, probably not. Maybe 10 cars is pushing it, I would say, for locomotive in our game, because obviously our game is not true. We have to kind of make the balance so that it kind of feels reasonable for within the game. If we make one locomotive hauling 100 wagons, the train is just too long for the game. And then, if every wagon is holding, let's say, 100 quantity, that would be 10,000 quantity. That's a lot of quantity to be on one train, right? So I think 10 wagons would be probably max for one locomotive at this point, unless you're hauling stuff downhill, which at that point, sure, you can probably do more. Henry, the train update is coming on May 20th. Yeah, in Australia they have long trains, I know, but also, they count trains. They have like this, train line which is just for the iron ore. There's no other trains on the line, and they just connect, crazy amount of wagons behind each other and crazy amount of locomotives, and then they put a world record. So that's nice. But the distances there are also quite big, right? I'm not sure how long those train lines are, but there are probably hundreds of kilometers, right? They are going with the ore really far. Whereas in this game, you're not going to have 100-kilometer space for a train, unfortunately. Fortunately, your graphics card would melt, and I think actually not even melt, but it's about the memory. I think for example, a single texture of 16 by 16K, which is the largest texture that Unity can reliably allocate, is a couple of gigs, maybe a gig or something like that, in terms of RAM, or maybe even more than that. I forgot the number, but it's insane. And we need multiple textures like this to represent terrain, like the heights and the mix of materials, and it's just you would need the GPU with like 60 gigs of memory to be able to do 100 kilometers 3D map like this, because our map is special, right? The map is not only the height, because it's fully dynamic, so it can be changing. The materials are remembered as they are kind of stacked up, so there's lots of extra data to be stored. I know some of you probably have like those 4090s or 5090s, which have, how much they have, 24 gigs or 32 gigs. They're quite good, but very, very small percentage of players have that. Maybe like single-digit percentage, right? Maybe 5% or so players have that. So if we spend so much time optimizing the game so we can run 100-kilometer maps on those GPUs, well, all other players wouldn't be able to do it because their GPU wouldn't be able to even store the data, or even CPU, right? You would even need for RAM, you would need also like 64 gigs of RAM. Who has that? Not the average player, unfortunately. So perhaps in the far future we can try to do some experimental crazy maps only for those players who have those specs. But for now, we are keeping a little bit closer to the ground and doing the reasonable size. The also problem is actually Unity is using, unfortunately, really old runtime for the .NET framework. It's using Mono framework, which has been written like 10 years ago, and it's abysmal. It's slow. It's inefficient. And the trouble is actually you can't allocate larger object than like 2 gigs, I think. Which like a single, for example, single array of 2 gigs in memory, which sounds big, but when you have maps like this, it starts adding up, right? I mean, 2 gigs, for example, imagine a terrain, which is 16K by 16K. I can do some computation here. Can I do 2 to 16, does it work? No, it doesn't work. I can do, so 216 is this 65,536 times. So this is, oh, it's too long. Oh, it doesn't want it to compute big numbers. Oh, it's too big. So I guess I can only divide that by doing, so 16K times 16K is 256 megabytes. So one array taking 1 byte per map tile is 256 megabytes. Now each integer or float or whatever has 4 bytes per tile. So that's 1 gig per tile. That's just for example, just to keeping the height of the terrain, right? So it's 1 gig already. And that's 16 by 16,000 tiles, right? So that's 1 gig for a single array. So if we would like to have map which stores, and we store, for example, at least 24 bytes per tile. So that's already 6 gigabytes, and Unity can't even allocate that. If you try to say new array of this size, Unity will just say, nope, too much. So at that point, we would have to start doing tricks like splitting up arrays and splitting up data to have multiple smaller arrays instead of one big array, which, you know, it's complexity that we would have to deal with, and it's unfortunate and it's annoying. But it is. If we were working in, you know, something more bare metal like C++, or something more modern like 10, you know, more modern than 10 years old mono runtime, that would be nice. Unity was promising for years now to make actually modern .NET, .NET 7, .NET 8. I mean C#, C#, C#8 and .NET framework went to that, but they have been very slow, and Unity 6 doesn't support that. So fortunately, we have to wait for them to implement support for modern runtime to be able to allocate large arrays, and thus having large maps, right? So that's the biggest issue right now. And also the textures, right? Unity can allocate only 16K textures, which seems reasonable when one texture is, you can see one texture of, you know, RGB texture would be 1 gig in GPU memory. So if your laptop GPU comes with, you know, 2 gigs or 3 gigs of memory, you wouldn't be able to make this map whatsoever. Yeah, it's lots of interesting things. Move to Unreal, right? It's not a big set of issues with Unreal as well. For example, I believe they have some kind of a object limit that some games are hitting, which we don't have any object limits. Our only limit is, you know, the GPU performance and power. And in fact, all those little piles and everything are not even an object. They don't exist anywhere as like a object allocated, or Unity doesn't even know there's any of these piles. It's just all rendered kind of using instancing massively. Yeah, it's interesting how things go. So every engine has its own pros and cons. And what we could do, actually, we could write, if we really, if our bane of existence was large maps, which is not, but if it was, we could allocate large arrays using native code, right? So instead of using C#, we could write a C++ plugin to Unity. And we could have just allocate large arrays natively, which is possible. It's just, again, extra complexity, extra work, which we don't think it's worth at this point. You know, 16K by 16K maps are ridiculous. Currently, this map, I believe, is 3K by 3K. Right? So if I zoom out, if I disable fog, this is roughly 3K. Oh my god, my frame rate is... So right now, I'm rendering everything in the game. Nothing is left out. And I'm getting like 15 frames per second. So apologize my low frame rate. But this is roughly 3K map. So 16K by 16K would be, you know, like 5 times for each dimension larger, right? That's ridiculous. So I think we don't need to go there. I think 4K or 5K would be just fine. While don't need to worry about this whole limitation with, you know, allocating big objects on the heap and stuff like that. So that's where we are at, yeah. Yeah, if you use Unreal, if you do whatever they do with the objects, I think every single little thing would be an object, like every belt or every, even depending how we do belt, maybe belt will be composed from multiple little sub-components, right? So maybe even every sub-component might be an object, every little pile, every little, we have conveyor belts and we have, they're actually stacked, right? We have this, it's not clearly visible here, but there's like a stack of 2 crates, and there's actually 2 things being rendered. Like, it's not like a fake object. It's like actually 2 things being rendered on top of each other. Sometimes we even offset them so they look a little bit better stacked. I think for plates, right? So every one actually has a random little rotation, right? They're kind of stacked on top of each other. So all of these would be, I think, objects in Unreal, and all of these actually, all of these are actually stacked as well. They're individual objects as well. In Unreal would be. In Unity, we are doing the rendering more efficient ourselves, so they are not each object. They are kind of fake. They are just represented as a, well, we have our own representation, right? So Unity doesn't know about it. It's our own thing, and we don't have any limitation for object IDs. Like, these don't have any ID that needs to be 4 bytes or anything like that. It's just a bunch of stuff which can be potentially greater than any number that we necessarily care about. So that's nice. So we don't have limitations for that. So we can actually go crazy with conveyor belts and objects, and even like the concrete. We have underneath optimization. So the concrete, as you build larger areas, it kind of merges into larger chunks. So it's more performant. So we can imagine that even though it looks like you can do single kind of tile at a time, which you can, but if you have larger chunks, they're gonna get all merged underneath automatically. So that's nice. So we don't need any kind of objects or counts for any of these things, even though they look like they are objects, but they're not. Which is also extra work, right? Everything like this has to be kind of made manually. So that's kind of difference from Unity and Unreal. Unreal kind of gives you lots of things ready, and if you use them, everything is working great and fine. But if you need something special, I think Unity is a little bit more hackable, a little bit easier to do something what you want without the engine kind of dictating what you need. Because if you kind of diverge from how Unreal does things, lots of things stop working, because Unreal kind of everything is kind of made to be done a certain way. And if you kind of do it your own way, then you are missing out on lots of features that Unreal provides for free. In Unity, well, they don't have too many things provided for free anyway, so you do it yourself, and then you don't have those limitations, but obviously you spend engineering time doing those things. So that's, I guess, a trade-off. Even though I'm not too big of an Unreal expert, I haven't written any big projects in Unreal. I've seen a few examples here and there, but yeah. All right, folks, it was great hanging out with you. I think I'm gonna go back making maps. I said I was doing maps for update 3. I'm working on New Haven currently. I'm gonna expand New Haven a little bit, adding more materials, stretching. I'm also improving the editor to have some features that I need. So thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks, JD, for coming in and for bringing some new folks. And I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.